Hello, welcome, Eve Online. How y'all doing? Today I'm gonna make a different type of series or video, talking about a couple of, let's just say dangerous, not dangerous, I think it's honorable solo PvP players in the faction warfare, um, that, you know, that just take one versus one fights. What I mean honorable, it means like, they're not, calling their group necessarily. Um, Honorable also means that if they have better skills than you, or if they use boosters or implants, it is still considered honorable. What I also consider honorable is, you know, um, all types of fittings, including, scramming, kiting. Um, that is also considered. You don't have to just brawl in order to be honorable. Okay, so we're take a look. Have a couple of players, and it's actually quite interesting. They have a quite interesting fits. We're gonna take a look at the most active from the last week. I think we're gonna do this series like every week because it's actually quite interesting, and we're gonna take a look at the both war zones. We're gonna talk about only the faction warfare zones because that's where the one versus one, um, honorable fights happen, where you actually, just you don't lose any standing while doing that. While, it's just, it is all permitted and in the rules, and is completely legitimate. All right, and you actually get rewarded if you get LP. So we're gonna talk about the first region, and I have there's like a couple, like split in between, where there's like a lot of action. We're gonna take a look at a couple of players. I have here a couple of notes as per usual. We are gonna take a look at this constellation, the constellation from Head, and we got a player here, and that his name is Ted Cruiser. Ted Cruiser, right? There you go. Yeah. Um, and Ted Cruiser is, let's just say, a veteran of the corporation Verkasar Rex Incorporation, and which is part of the Sedition, right? In which Sedition is in the Angel Cartel Militia. And yeah, he operates, like I said, in the constellation of Head, in the Amar Minmatar faction warfare zone. Um, in more particularly in this system, he's very active, especially in the last week. Um, in this system, Siseide. And I have here a couple of ships and all of that. And I'll first of all, I'm just gonna give you a couple of things, a couple of interesting things about him, that you know, um, he, and a couple of stats actually rather. He is just like a solo prowess. I mean, he has like 1,470 solo kills, and that is 20%, 23% of his total. And he's a true solo artist. Most pilots in big alliances only have like solo percentages under like 10%. Yeah, but this guy, efficiency is at 77.3, and he's flying like solo, is very active, and in the war zone. Yeah, which it's extremely difficult to do that. And obviously, I'm pretty sure that he does activities with his alliances, but when he's doing faction warfare, he's actually doing a lot of one versus one. He doesn't call for his friends or alliances to do that. So I think that's very very honorable. And I want to highlight. I want to just preface this by this, because we're not looking necessarily for the most dangerous pilots. because those pilots are probably just, you know, gate campers or something. We're looking for, you know, players who actually are good at 1 versus 1, and the 1 versus 1 that happen most regularly is in the faction warfare, and we're looking also for the ones that are taking honorable fights as well. It's not like we're looking for players who fight the same size ships in you know, or you know, somewhat close to it, and you know, they don't try to have a, yeah, you know what I mean. They went based on, let's just say, navigation and their personal skills on flying. Um, and I think Teqq Cruiser is the perfect example of what that means. And yeah, I mean, his top system, like I said, is Siseide, um, which is, you know, right here. Already said that. Um, and but I mean, let's just mention that Siseide, it's definitely like a thunderstorm in low sec, and fighting there sort of takes guts. Because you're constantly being hunted by gate camps and multi-boxers and gangs and all that. So yeah, let's take a look at like you know, because I rambled quite a bit about him. Let's take a look at like some of his ships, and I'm also gonna mention that Teqq Cruiser doesn't stick necessarily to one gimmick. He kind of adapts his ship to the current local meta, and has a couple preferences. You know, he's quite diverse, if you ask me, in that regard. We're gonna take a look at his Federation Navy Comet first. Let's just simulate it. I'm gonna have, probably because not in the description, I'm gonna have his profile, or the profile player profile in the zkillboard profile in my description. But the fits you'll probably have, because it's just gonna take a lot of space in my description, and we're probably gonna have to copy paste in yourself in game, or just look at what I got here and copy it that way. So yeah, this guy, look at his fit. He has, like, you know, I don't have also perfect fits or perfect skills, but as you can take, I'm just taking a look at what he is actually flying. He's quite tanky, 1,500 EHP and 200, almost 270 DPS. It is the typical, you know, Federation Navy Comet with you know, light neutral blasters and a chew, and with the void or antimatter. Yeah, it has a lot more EHP than the other fits that I've seen, and that's because he is also using the Federation Navy 200 steel plate. He doesn't have drain capacitor module, but so he is quite a bit not that great against yeah, let's just say newts. But if you're fighting like in scouts, you're not gonna fight a lot of newts. So I think that's a quite a smart choice, if you ask me. Let me finish this. I'm doing the missions as well. Yeah, it's interesting. His fit is interesting. He doesn't have a scram. He has double web, and yeah, this fit is also very alpha friendly as well. Yeah, what can I say? Good DPS, very standard Federation Navy Comet. Actually, maybe a little bit of deviation from the standard. It has more input on having more EHP than DPS, and I guess he relies on that because he wants to get more cycles in with a small ancillary armor repair, and I think that's quite smart. And it's really not that expensive. It's, I mean, the Federation Navy still, it's almost like cost a little more, but and other than that, it's a pretty solid fit. I really recommend, you know, taking his or copying his fit is seems seems very good and actually very standard. Let's take a look at his Comrade Navy issue, which also is very unique. He has very unique fits, if you ask me. Very unique fits. Now, I cannot fly this, but I'm pretty sure if you put the implant, you'll be able to, if you're and have a couple of skills. It is interesting. He utilizes the 125 millimeters railgun chew with a medium ancillary shield booster and an overpropped afterburner. And I guess his goal is just to, you know, orbit you or just take distance. It's definitely like a kiting anti-support ship platform. He uses definitely his range, because you have the bonuses of the range, and yeah, look at that. I mean, it's incredible range. And also the tracking bonuses of the ship that it's having, as you can see. You have the optimal range and the tracking, you know, or the fall off. Yeah, the ship is great, and you cannot scram it, and you will always just take distance. It's very solid. And he uses a warp disruptor to, you know, have you know, decent range with a web. Yeah, solid all around, definitely, and a good DPS. Very interesting. I've fit, and might be quite a bit more expensive, but I think you can actually do it. It's just the implant, or if you have the skills, you might this fit might not cost you that much, but yeah, I like it. I like it very much. Very interesting fit from Teqq, and he also has a third. You know, it's one of the few players that actually flies quite a different type of ships. So I'm gonna highlight all of them because it's very unique and very interesting. So, and it's worth highlighting. I mean, he has different ships, but it seems like he likes kiting, because if I look at this. Also quite unique ship, the Kalari Navy, or the Hook Bell rather. It is a fit with light missiles launchers too, and yeah, it seems like very tanky, or, you know, has two small capacitor or small shield extenders, and it moves very fast, and the goal seems the same, to just keep the distance, orbit you, and not rockets, use the light missiles, right? It's not using the rockets, it's using the missiles to, you know, sit at range and orbit you and kill you that way. Also very interesting fit that he's using. Yeah, he uses this 5 mid slot to dictate how far away to stay from enemy. Yeah, if you cannot catch him, you definitely cannot kill him. So yeah, what I see from him is that a very honorable player with a lot of solo kills. You can check his zkillboard in the description of the video. And yeah, that's gonna be for him. We're gonna take a look at the other players, and that'll be Eiko Inkura. Now this guy is, you know, definitely, you know, a fantastic contrast to Teqq, because you know, while Teqq is probably an outlaw veteran from the war zone, this guy Eiko Inkura is more like a Republic purist. You know, he fights for the Republic in the Mid-Metar militia, and I think he operates in the, let me see, in this system, either Flossowin. Or where was it actually? Yeah, I think he operates in Flossowin, but he's somewhere here close. Flossowin or even Arden, but it's definitely there. Um, and this guy, Eiko Inkura, it's very interesting. He has if I look at the solo count of his kills, he has 774 solo kills out of 1,213. Um, this guy, it's definitely, 63.8 solo ratio. It is statistically elite. Most faction warfare who claim to be solo actually have like maybe 10-15% ratio, because usually just flying small gangs. But this guy is one of a kind. He's almost always alone. He's a lawful warrior. Consider him like that, because unlike like other low sec hunters, Eiko is, has, it seems like, high security. I mean, he could be, because he bought tags, but it seems like he's very honorable. He isn't a pirate. He's from Mid-Metal Republic, and I feel like he's a patriot for the Mid-Metal Republic and the Tribal Liberation Force, and targets enemies almost exclusively. Yeah, and his fit probably or fit. It's probably fits for our series as honorable. All right, we're gonna take a look at his ship, which is also pretty interesting. He almost exclusively uses Vexor Navy issue, which kind of tells me that his it's a high risk, high skill playstyle, if you ask me, and yeah, he's running heavy iron blasters too with null, or I think Kaldari Navy antimatter. They're both good. And I think his style most likely is he expects to be a kiting drone, or what people probably expect, that he's gonna be like a kiting drone boat. But Eiko subverts this. He lets enemy gets close, thinking they can catch squishy, boat drone, but then melts them with the blasters. So yeah. He is using blasters on cruisers, means, what that means if you use blasters on cruiser, it means like you're committed, you can't just run away. That's once you're in range. So either you win the brawl or you go pod in the home in the pods. That makes him very honorable. So yeah, his system, looking at his skills, yeah, it definitely is in Flossowin, and I think at the moment it's definitely the most iconic meat grinder. It seems like for now on Amar might be able to defend, because it was kind of pushed, and if they get armor they will take that pressure off the Flossowin. But definitely one of the most iconic meat grinder system in the Mid-Metal war zone. And if I look at his skills and his profile from Eiko, and I mean, it's quite interesting because he has kills over like Vedmax, Kikimora, Omen Navy issues. I mean, those are not easy kills. Those are high tier ships. Flown by capable pilots. So this guy knows what you know. This guy is good. He is very good. Okay. Yeah. So that's about Eiko Inkura. Careful when you see him, but definitely honorable fights. He's a very patriotic Republic pilot and very interesting. But his fit looks very. I mean, I haven't talked a little bit about his fit, but has drones, all types of drones. Blasters, very tanky with active reps and high resistance. So he just reactive armor as well. So he's just gonna tank a lot um, because of his armor resistance and yeah, the reps is gonna keep them away in there. With he's gonna use this. It probably has the tier two, but I and cap boosters, and he's gonna keep on doing that. If until he runs out of the drones and cap boosters, and that's a very long period of time to do that, and very interesting fit. Um, yeah. All right. I think I talked about the fit now. I can go to the next one. We're gonna go. We have two more profiles. I mean, we analyze in this Amar Minmatar faction warfare zone. Now we're gonna talk about Caldari Galente faction warfare zone, and we got two pilots from their war zone as well, and we got Dash Zapfod Aurora, I think. And this guy is a member of the corporation Percussor Resorgo. And he's currently also like a powerhouse in the but it's in the Caldari Galente war zone, and that'll be right here in this constellation. And let me pull this. He is has like a lot of solo kills. Like in the last 7 days, he has like 50 solo kills, and that is quite of an impressive pace. You know what? Let's just try to finish this because why not? I'm doing missions, guys. Yeah, his kills definitely. He has like in the last week 50 kills. This guy is no joke. And yeah, he he's not a pilot who waits for the perfect fight. I've seen his zkillboard. He's definitely a pilot who makes things, or who makes fights happen. um, he has kills on like 14 different systems, 2 different regions. He roams the pipes of the this northern constellation, or the you know or this constellation. He just he makes things happen. um, and he looks for people who or anyone brave enough to be out in the open. um, and he also just doesn't down ships. um, his feed is definitely, I mean, I look at his profile, and his feed is um, full of kills against destroyers like Corsair Navy issue, Catalyst Navy issues, Algos, while he's flying in like frigates. So this guy just can fight with smaller ships against bigger ships. and that is peak of honorable soloing. You know, when you take a fight from with a smaller ship against a bigger ship, that's what those are the guys that I want to highlight in EVE Online. What are they doing? How they operate? You know, and how they're taking out to the bigger guy and winning. Um, so yeah, Dash Zapfod Outover is definitely the guy that does that. Um, Let me see. I have a couple of fits from him, but the most successful that he has, he is with ships in tier 2. His fits are not alpha friendly, but he relies on speed and I guess alpha, you can say it. So he's just tanking, or not tanking, but yeah, let's just talk about his Jaguar fit, um, which is an Omega brawler, or somewhat you can consider that way. He's running 280 howitzer here, and also the light missile launchers here, and he has ancillary shield booster, and I guess his style. He isn't trying to just out DPS you. He's he's trying to chunk your health bar, with volleys, and yeah. I know much. I know a little less about tier 2s, but because also this Jaguars fit a little odd, but it's very interesting. He uses tracking, so he's basically it's just very hard to hit, and very nimble. He has and yeah, I like the fit, but you might need a little bit of skills to fly this. It seems like I'm not even able to fly it, but interesting. And he also uses another ship that is very successful in 1 versus 1, which is the light missiles crow. Is it a crow? Yes, it's a crow. And also with tracking disruptor, the same thing. It's just like one less tracking disruptor, very nimble and hard to catch ship. Um, you know, um, this the style that I'm seeing from him is a pure "don't touch me" gameplay. Um, he has now insane speed. Obviously, look at this. This is 5,200. It's crazy. Um, yeah, and he stays, I think, mostly at like 20 kilometers range. Orbits you, and he slowly picks target. You know, to death while they struggle to even get a lock on him. That's it's a clean way to fight if he makes more mistakes. Um, but yeah, if he makes one mistakes, he dies. But he flies perfectly, and yeah, he seems untouchable with what he's got going on. And obviously I think he's a pretty skilled pilot. So um, yeah, interesting fits. Not alpha friendly, but I like them. They're pretty similar if you look at both of them. Pretty quite similar. Or style. And the last but not the least, and also he's a member of the Galente Federation. I also forgot to just mention to all the other players. Teqq is, and I mentioned. I thought I didn't mention. Anyway, well, let's go to the last player. This guy is not part of the militia, but I'm still gonna mention him because of his incredible sheer subtle pilot capabilities. Also, Yeah, this guy is a feared monster from snuffed out. Um, a one versus one final boss, you can say that. Um, yeah, he's part of the Infinity Avenger, which is part of the snuffed out. He operates in Tama. You all know where Tama is, guys, right? It's just right here, and he just kills anything. He's like, um, if you're looking at Redeovg is looking like a master class, in low sec dominance. He's you know, the most feared, I think, uh, players, and also like the Snuffed Out Alliance in general is like the most feared alliance in low sec, and he represents more like the elite solo archetype, a pilot who just doesn't wait for the blob but actively hunts in the most dangerous subs and then you even need them. So he is an outlaw, but in the faction warfare theater, um, being dangerous on zkill, um, but also honorable in the fights. So impressive. That's why like he's not, seems to join any faction militia, but he seems to be getting a lot of solo kills and they're honorable kills. And yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at his profile. I've already propped him up enough. Um, he is using a very interesting fit, which is this fit. And this ship actually you're not seeing it in the ship tree, which is the Vigilant Navy issue. And if you look at the ship tree, I was like, oh, where's this Vigilant Navy issue at the cruisers? You cannot see it. It was like, oh, Executive Navy issue. But it's from Thorax, like Thorax, and this ship is like a version of it, and it is a pretty refined ship. Let's just put it this way. Incredible defense, and he's using the rail guns and the antimatter. Well, look at that. This is ridiculous. It has more damage than the blaster ship. So this is quite disgusting. I mean, this ship, I mean, it's an expensive ship. You have to just, I think it's 230 billion or million ship. Yeah, Vigilant, 265 at the moment. Very refined ship. A lot of Navy items. I think he might have just had like abyssal rolls for his web and his magnetic field stabilizers, but I had to replace them, and just put something. But yeah, pretty disgusting fit. I mean, you look at this range. He used this with scan resolution, so he has better tracking. He just gets the right distance on people. He more tanky than a brawler and has more DPS than a brawler and has the range. Probably has like all the skills for the ship and implants and boosters and snake pods or any of those stuff. And I mean, look at the price tag, right? It's just the ship itself, and also that he's using those Federation Navy. But it makes sense why he doesn't get killed that easily in 1 versus 1. Um, impressive stuff. Hopefully you guys like this video, guys. It's you know, quite an interesting, you know, quite an interesting fit. So let's just put it that it's a bit of unique, and you can see the flavor of each of the players or what they're flying. So yeah, I put quite a bit of effort into making this video. Hope you guys like it and use those fits yourself in the faction warfare. Get good, honorable 1v1 fights, and if you have interesting 1v1 fights, you can send them to me. Maybe on my Discord or something, okay? Alright, Kakala Asanari is out. Take care.